I now call to order the business of September 8th, 2015. Mr. Clerk, will you please take the roll?
Nettapegian, absent. Kenneth Barron.
Here.
Thomas Berry.
Here.
Robert Constant.
Here.
Lisa Hicks Clayton.
Here.
Margaret Horvath.
Here.
Joseph Kosinski.
Here.
Mr. Chairman, we have a quorum.
Last week, we had an opportunity to have Councilwoman Horvath welcome back as we had the presentation, so I'd like to have her lead us in the pledge today.
Yeah. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Next order of business is the approval of the agenda.
Mr. Chairman,
Councilwoman Hicks Clayton.
I move to approve the order of business for September 8th, 2015, regular meeting of the Dearborn Heights City Council as provided.
Second.
Second by Councilman Kozinski. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion, aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Item number 4, approval of the minutes. 4A, the minutes of the regular meeting of August 25th, 2015.
Mr. Chairman,
Councilman Kozinski.
I move that the minutes of the August 25th, 2015 meeting of the Dearborn Heights City Council be approved as submitted.
Support.
Second by Councilman Constant. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion, aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Item number 6, fund transfers and current claims.
Mr. Chair,
Councilman Berry.
move to approve current claims 6-1 through 623.
Second.
Second by Councilman Kozinski. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion, aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Item number 8, reports from the mayor. 8A from Mayor Pleco, Wade Trim Associates, Inc.,
Mr. Chair,
proposed professional service agreement. Councilman Berry.
move City Council concur with Mayor Dan Paletko and enter a new agreement with Wade Trim for professional planning services as outlined in 8A and authorize the mayor to sign the agreement on behalf of the city.
Second.
Second by Councilman Constant. Is there any discussion?
Mr. Chairman,
Councilman Kozinski.
Councilor Mayotke, I don't seem to see anything in here as to what legal expert will be given the Planning Commission and the other commission zoning board legal advice. What's the decision on that issue?
Well, Mark Roberts from Seacrest Wardle, who's one of the assistant corp counsels, generally handles that and generally does a good job from all that I've heard.
Okay, he's had this before then?
Yes.
Yes.
Mr. Chairman, I have a
Councilwoman
question.
Horvath?
I thought that all contracts were supposed to be signed by the mayor and the clerk. And I don't see the clerk's signature line on these two signature pages. Am I right? Clerk signs contracts?
Normally, there is a spot for me to sign there. There has been in the past some.
No, it's not has been. Is it, are you supposed to sign contracts?
I know-
Doesn't it say in the charter you sign contracts?
I know.
Okay, then we need a,
We'll
okay, all right.
Add the clerk? Sure. The maker and second?
So be it.
Okay. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion, aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. 8B from Mayor Pleco, Dearborn Heights Redskins Youth Football Annual Homecoming Parade.
Mr. Chairman,
Councilwoman Hicks Clayton.
I move to approve the Dearborn Heights Redskins Youth Football Organization's request for permission to hold their annual homecoming parade on Saturday, October 3rd, 2015 at 9 a.m. Police Chief Gavin and Fire Chief Brogan have both approved the route and will provide any services they may require as outlined in 8B, or B, I'm sorry, B. It's cut off.
8B. Yep.
Thank you.
Second by Councilman Constant. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion, aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Item number 9, reports from city officials. 9A from Corporate Counsel Miyake, retention of Beckett and Rader, Inc. for the city planning services.
Mr. Chair,
Councilman Berry.
move City Council concur and approve the retention of Beckett and Reader to provide professional services and time and material service as an independent contractor basis with respect to planning and zoning as outlined in 9A.
Support.
Second by Councilman Hicks Clayton. Is there any discussion?
Yes, Mr. Chairman?
Councilwoman Hicks Clayton?
I'm hoping with Beckett and Rader, since they're going to be brought on to perform certain services, that we might take a look at the Bigfoot homes and things as we had discussed in study session. Just wanted to add that for comment, please. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman,
Councilman Kozinski.
the Councilman Miyake gets the same question on this organization with regard to legal advice. Same answer.
That's correct.
Yeah, we use for planning, and Mr. Roberts is utilized in that capacity. Sometimes we ask Gary to look at his work to concur in it, or he'll get consultation from Gary, because Gary's the lead counsel. But normally, for most day-to-day questions, Mr. Roberts is asked to handle it.
Anything further? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion, aye?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. 9B from Corporate Counsel Miyake, Wayne County Register of Deeds Government Use Agreement.
Mr. Chair,
Councilman Constant.
I move that we concur with Corporation Counsel Gary Miyake and approve the Wayne County Register of Deeds Government User Agreement as outlined in 9B.
Second.
Second by Councilman Kozinski. Is there any discussion?
Mr. Chair.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead, please.
Councilman Kozinski, and then we'll do
Mr. Chairman,
Councilman Berry.
when I read this document, I had extracted some thought that there would be a concern about the confidentiality of information that was garnered from the county for city use. In the structure of the document, if that is a real concern, is it covered in the written form here? Or should it be covered? My concern is that there are some third parties furnishing Wayne County some information wherein there is a potential for developing some liabilities that go with the information from third parties through county and then to city. If a political subdivision ventures onto that information, should that be a part of the contract, that information garnered from the county through this agreement should be held in confidence and should not be given forward to anyone who would request it or order to give it, except in
Yes,
legal issues?
if I understand correctly what you're saying, Councilman, I think what the county is trying to protect itself from is either individuals who are employees, for example, using this information for their own benefit, and or anyone relying on the information too readily and not actually being a customer. So essentially, any information that the city receives pursuant to this agreement should be understood to be used for city purposes only, and that should be clear to all city departments with respect to that, to make sure that we don't have a problem.
Any other use beyond that of city purposes would be a violation of the agreement.
Yes, and it would also end up basically being one of the reasons why I think the county has the indemnification provisions that it does in this agreement, which are, quite one-sided, but at the same time, as long as we're not doing something that's improper, we should be okay.
This is going to be very limited. The treasurer informed me that this is not a very small charge. It's a good amount of charge. Money was provided in his budget so he's going to be tracking it. Somebody started to use this for private purposes or for some kind of commercial, he's going to run out of budget pretty quickly.
Yeah, so the concern is that it's forbidden for personal use.
That is correct.
Yes.
Councilman Berry? did you
Well,
still-
I think he half answered the question when he said, the statement that you make in here, there are very one-sided provisions related to ownership, and you're talking about the indemnification of it.
Right. So,
Thank you.
Anything further?
99% of what
Councilman
you're gonna look at those a matter of public record, correct?
Yeah, but
It's a very handy site to use and to have, but,
isn't that information somewhat accessed through the assessor's department as well?
The uses will be predominantly assessors and treasurer. We did think that on occasion, someone in the building or ordinance may need to use it, but once again, it'll be very limited because of the expense.
Yeah.
And authorize the 2 signatures? Mayor and clerk to sign?
I never
Made
made
the
the motion on this. I thought,
motion, yes.
Constant and then Councilman
Krasinski, yes,
Krasinski
well,
was
I
the
agree
second.
with that.
Okay. Okay, good. Anything further? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion, aye.
aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Item number C, from Corporation Counsel Miyake, Michigan Public Safety Communication System Integration Agreement with State of Michigan.
Mr. Chairman,
Councilwoman Horvath.
I move that the council agree with the agreement with the Michigan Public Safety Communication System Integration Agreement with the state of Michigan as outlined in 9C.
Need the mayor's signature on there?
Second by
I think
Councilman
so.
Constant.
No,
No.
it's already signed.
Is it?
Page 26.
Yes.
Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion, aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Item number D, from Human Resource Director Sabota Perry, Employee Assistance Program.
Mr. Chair.
Councilman Constant?
I move we concur with our Personnel Director Elizabeth Sabota Perry and approve the continued contractual relationship with the city's employee assistance provider, Alliance, as outlined in 9D.
Support.
Second by Councilwoman Hicks Clayton. Is there any discussion?
Mr. Chairman,
Councilman Krasinski.
I'm curious to know the depth of use of this program. Do we have a number of people that are taking advantage of it, or their families?
If you can come to the mic, Liz.
While she's coming up, we've had a presentation to all the department heads. For instance, if you had you knew something major was going on in an individual's personal life, you can refer them for this counseling. If you had 2 employees, fortunately, we don't have a lot of this, but if you had 2 employees who got in a significant argument or something, they would also be sent to this. So the idea was to have the department heads, and also covers individuals like if employees' kids, because that can affect their behavior also. But I'll let Elizabeth capsule it.
What I know is the statistics look fairly like it's low utilization. However, some of it is group utilization. So if we do have an event, for instance, a premature, unexpected death, we have counselors available to come into the building, whether that's utilized or not. If 5 employees see them or if no one sees them, it's counted as like one-time contact because I reach out to them and then they come on site. So they do some sort of like crisis management after the fact. They've done some training for us, so that doesn't really get reported in the same level as terms of like people calling and asking. You know, for the most part, it's people will call or family members would call on their own accord. So I'm only getting those reports on a quarterly or annual basis. You know, on a larger number, it's, you know, do our employees attend the trainings that are offered during employee assistance or employee appreciation week? So statistically, it looks low, but I think it's relevant because unfortunately, you kind of never know when that next thing is going to come up.
essentially, there's no other alternative for this kind of service at the expense that we are incurring here.
Right, we have, especially with the police and fire, we have some psychologists that, we have used for debriefing in the past, if tragedy hits. But they really focus on police and fire first responders. But it isn't always first responders that kind of deal with the aftermath, especially if it affects other departments. And so those costs are pretty significant to have a psychologist come, just to have one person evaluate it. For instance, it could have a $600 price tag to it for one person, and that could be an hour, so, or two, but, that's at a hefty price tag. So Uliance has been the carrier that we use. We transitioned from the Oakwood Hospital had provided us a service for many years that the city had contracted with after the death of a on-duty officer. And then Uliance actually, when Oakwood decided to outsource, then it was Team, which then became Uliance. And Uliance has been the provider for many cities and many large employers, so.
Thank you.
Councilwoman Hicks Clayton?
Thank
had a
you.
question?
Actually, I think Director Perry has just answered the question. My question was about fire and police, in particular with the PTSD counseling, because I'm sure what they're exposed to, what they see daily, definitely we want those services to be available to support them.
Yep, and they have that, and it also involves some managerial coaching. For instance, if there was an employee, for instance, and this is what the rep came and discussed at the department head meeting. If you have an employee and you're trying to motivate them, or you're trying to even discipline them, but you think that it has something to do with what's going on in their personal life, it's a resource for that. So sometimes some of our managers might even be using it as a performance issue to help address it.
Councilman Constant, did you have a question?
Yeah, so they're the successor to the Oakwood Hospital?
Correct. In fact, some of the people still work for them, and they provide counseling. So that's been one of the advantages. Some of the people that did not retire out of the Oakwood group continue to stay on with Uliance and our providers. So Uliance has a large network. So some of the counselors aren't necessarily Uliance people, but they're counselors that offer the same services that Uliance has at whatever agreed upon price. And our employees, we never see that real true price tag. Uliance picks up that.
Thank you.
And the maker and the second, the mayor and clerk to sign?
Mayor and clerk to sign.
Mayor, clerk, sign, yes.
Okay, good. Anything further? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion, aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Item number E from Human Resource Director Sabota Perry, Platt Moran Group Benefit Advisory, 6055 and 6056, Reporting Assistance.
Mr. Chair,
Councilman Berry.
move City Council concur to further retain Plant Moran Group Benefit Advisory and to sublicense with HCM file to implement reporting provisions that the City of Dearborn Heights has under the Affordable Care Act as outlined in 9E.
Second.
Second by Councilman Kozinski. Is there any discussion? Do we have the mayor and clerk to sign on both these
Yes.
also?
I believe we do.
Okay.
So move, please.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion, aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Item number F from Public Service Administrator Zimmer, 2015 Pazer Road Rating Engineering Services.
Mr. Chairman,
Councilman Kozinski.
move council concur with the request of Bill Zimmer, Director of DPW, to perform the required pavement surface evaluation and rating system designated as Pazer for the paved roads under the jurisdiction of Dearborn Heights. The expense is not to exceed $12,000, and Wade and Trim is the assignee for the work responsibility.
Support.
All according to item 9F.
Support.
Second by Councilwoman Hicks Clayton. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion, aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Item number G from Police Chief Gavin, purchase of equipment for in-car video systems and back office equipment.
Mr. Chairman?
I have a question.
Oh,
I have a question, Mr. Chairman.
Question first? Is it
Mr.
okay?
Chairman,
Okay, go
Chief
ahead.
Gavin, we have this equipment in place now, do we?
Yes, we do.
Okay. Is this a attempt to purchase from the same resources as we now have in place?
Yes,
Okay.
we worked with Dearborn IT on this, and this is to update our equipment. As we all know, the video cameras and that keep getting outdated. So this is with L3, we do a lot of work with L3 Mobile Vision. So, and we also have the grant MMRMA reimbursement of $30,000. So,
Okay.
that's in our in-car video and then the backup system.
Is it essentially a single source purchase?
Same as what?
Single source purchase?
Yes.
Oh.
And
All right.
you're kind of limited with this equipment. L3 has done most of our work in the building on our cameras and that, and we've been using them. That's who we're hooked up to when the cars come into the parking lot and they download L3, set up all that computer system to download everything onto the servers.
Thank you. Go ahead, Marge. You're gonna put
Okay, we need a motion.
Mr. Chairman,
Councilwoman Horvath?
I move that the council approve for the purchase and payment to L3 Mobile Vision for equipment for the in-car video system and all back office equipment. This is due to the current equipment being outdated and cannot be served any longer. The total cost of this equipment is $135,470.20, as outlined in 9G.
second.
And authorize the payment,
And
on
authorize.
successful
And authorize the payment upon receipt, yeah.
and it was seconded by Councilman Kozinski.
Yes.
Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion, aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. 9H from Emergency Manager Director Amcrop, budget amendment to purchase a new emergency management vehicle.
Mr. Chairman,
Councilman Kozinski.
I move the council concur the request of Emergency Manager Bob Amcrat to purchase a new vehicle, namely a Ford Escape SE4X in the amount of $23,709.
Support.
And payment due upon the receipt of the equipment, all according to the definitions explained in item 9H.
Second by Councilman Constant. Is there any discussion?
Mr. Chair,
Councilman Berry?
I just want to inform the public that this has been approved in the 215-216 budget year.
Mr. Chairman,
Councilwoman Hicks Clayton?
if I may, I do have a question respectfully. It was approved in the 2015-2016 budget, but it was approved for the Jeep Patriot, which was $18,320. And certainly we all agree that the 2001 Ford Explorer is overdue and should be replaced. And obviously, it's, well utilized for its services. However, when reading this request, it says it was recommended we reconsider the purchase of the Ford Escape instead. And I was just wondering if you could kind of share with us why we're reconsidering, obviously a budget amendment of over $5,000 for the Ford Escape versus the Jeep Patriot, which was originally approved in the budget. Thank you.
I don't believe, if I may, Mr. Chair, I do not believe that the prices were available for the 2016s at the time. And I believe going with the Ford Escape is a far better purchase than the Jeep Patriot.
Well, I want to hear from, if I may, respectfully, because it is listed here, the Ford Escape at $23,709, the Jeep Patriot $18,320, so that is a difference. And again, the budget from 2015-2016 was approved as the Jeep Patriots. I just want to understand why we're reconsidering that.
Sure. Well, first, good evening, council members. As Councilman Berry suggested, we didn't have the 2016 prices available at the time. Okay. Quite frankly, I guess I kind of pulled the trigger a little too quickly on that one. After the fact, after submitting the Jeep quote, it came to my attention that we should probably reconsider, for no other reason than the quality issues. The Ford ratings were significantly higher than the Patriot ratings, and we thought, again, as far as the bang for the buck, we'd be better off paying a little bit more up front, getting perhaps a little more dependable vehicle.
Yeah, if I might add, as was indicated, we're trading in or getting rid of a 2001. So the fact of the matter is, we really look to keep vehicles in excess of 10 years. I don't think the Jeep will last the 10 years, and I don't want to downgrade, because we could have people who work for FCA who live in the city, but based upon everything we read and what we were told, we should be able to get a good 10 years out of that Escape Plus.
Thank you.
Okay,
Any other questions?
any other questions? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion, aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Item number I, from Ordinance Enforcement Director McGinty, demolition of 24300 McDonald.
Mr. Chairman,
Councilwoman Hicks Clayton.
yes, I move to approve Berkshire Development to demolish the house and garage as listed at 24300 McDonald for a cost not to exceed no more than $9,850, and to authorize payment to them upon completion as outlined in item 9A.
Second.
9I.
Second by Councilman Barry. Is there any discussion?
No.
Was it Councilman Kozinski?
Kaczynski.
Okay. Second by Councilman Kozinski. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion, aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Item number 13, new business, 13A, permanent traffic control device T256, no U-turn at eastbound and westbound Wilson and John Daly.
Mr. Chairman,
Councilman Kozinski?
would you accept a motion for 13A through 13C?
We could do that, they're all the same.
Move the council approve a permanent device under 13A, no U-turn, east and westbound Wilson and John Daly, at the staff recommendation of the Dearborn Heights Police Department. 9B is a permanent device, no U-turn, eastbound Wilson and Beach Daly. Staff recommendation, Dearborn Heights City Police Department. And 13C is a permanent device, no stopping, standing, or parking southbound and northbound Macmillan, north of Ford Road to alleyway, all per the staff recommendation of the Dearborn Heights Police Department, all according to the details of 13A, B, and C.
Support.
Second by Councilman Constant. Is there any discussion?
Yeah, Mr. Chair.
Councilman Berry.
13C, Chief, will we be able to do anything? I know it's impeding traffic and on Ford Road there on McMillan where the Dairy Queen is, but can we put a sign up on Ford Road to let them know that they cannot block this road?
Yeah, the state's going to put one up for us. Our traffic bureau contacted the state. They're going to put a sign up again.
Great.
No parking, standing, all that stuff on Ford Road. We'll see if a combination of that sign on Ford and this on McMillan, if it does anything. But naturally, the fall time is coming to the end of the prime season there.
Yeah, and I wonder if, because the state is so far removed from what actually takes place there, I wonder if we were able to get them to come out one day on a Sunday afternoon when traffic is backed up a half a mile, they'd see what's going on, and if there was a way that we could put a device out there to warn people that traffic ahead has been stopped.
I'll ask our traffic bureau if they could maybe check with some engineers, see if they could come out one day during the busy time and see if there's any suggestions.
And I don't know how many problems we've had there. I don't think we've had very many accidents.
A few, not many, just, someone stops and
And it's almost like you want to leave well enough alone. Everybody's sort of aware of what's going on at that particular time, traveling back and forth. But heaven forbid that one time something happens, it's... Anyway, thank you very much. I appreciate this.
Okay.
cars.
Anything further? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion, aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Item number D, business license renewal for First Mutual Auto, 6888 North Telegraph.
Mr. Chairman,
Councilwoman Horvath.
I move that the council approve the business license for First Mutual Auto, 6888 Telegraph, as outlined in 13D.
Support.
Second by Councilman Constant. Is there any discussion?
Mr. Chair,
Councilman Berry.
to the clerk, if I will. Our format has changed on this.
No, Mr. Councilman, what you actually see is the actual license. If you'll notice, it's the April 30th, 2016. Sometimes the businesses come in and they don't have their renewal.
Okay.
And we neglected to print a new renewal out and give it to you, but
No problem. I just wondering if we were changing.
no,
Okay.
this is the actual license that
Okay,
the
thank
business
you.
gets.
Anything further? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion, aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. This ends our regular portion of our meeting. Is there anything to come from any of the council members?
Mr. Chairman?
Councilwoman Hicks Clayton?
Thank you. I wanted to share something, and I'm hoping Chief Gavin will help me on this. On Friday, August 28th, in Gulfview Manor, we have a very active neighborhood watch program, and we're always advocating for neighbors to be aware and to call and to partner with our police department. So interesting enough, on Friday, August 28th, at 10:30 p.m., there was a home invasion. And there were so many residents that had called in to assist the police, kind of like a play-by-play on where this person was. And I know it was a long evening for everyone, because I was still getting calls at 5 in the morning on it, because I coordinate the crime prevention program in that neighborhood. But you guys, for your police, as well as the residents, thank you, because you stuck with it, and you apprehended this person, who I understand has been doing this for 25-plus years. And we really appreciate that, because that's just what I want to share, is the happy ending that by working together with our police department, he was apprehended and taken off the street.
You know, the gentleman I chased back years ago when I started, he served, they said, about 12 years in jail, and he come out, and he broke into a house there in your area on Rosemary, and he got out of the house when he was confronted by the homeowner, and we chased him through the yards. He had a car there, we towed his car, and then eventually about 6:30 in the morning, he come out on a bicycle between some houses, and we finally arrested him. So our officers did a good job staying persistent through the night. And this gentleman was 55 years old. He's no kid, and he lived in a city. He's been around a long time. So we got him off the streets. And again, police did a good job, but we need the citizens, and they helped us. They were there for us,
Yes.
too.
So I just
Thank you.
thank you. Thank you for sharing that.
Sure.
With that, if I may, I have two more points that
Okay,
kind of
go
tie
ahead, and
into
then we'll
that, if
get
I
to
may, and keep the flow going here. On Wednesday, October 14th, I'd mentioned this before, but at 7 p.m., we are meeting at St. Albert's for another crime prevention walk. We've offered several throughout the city of Dearborn Heights, so this is, I believe, the fourth one we're doing. So again, that's Wednesday, October 14th, 7 p.m. at St. Albert's. So everyone is invited to join us for that as we share crime prevention tips, and of course, we do assessments as we're walking. The last thing I want to mention, our crime prevention officer, Corporal Paranello, has organized 2 Halloween patrol meetings, organization meetings, and those are going to be on Thursday, October 22nd, and Thursday, October 29th, 6 p.m. at the Justice Center. So again, we want to encourage our residents to come out and show your support for that as we organize Halloween patrols for that weekend. Thank you.
Mr. Chair.
Councilman Barrett?
On a later note, I'd like to congratulate the Crestwood varsity football team. They have a new coaching staff. They have a new attitude. They won their first game at center line. I think it was 23-0. They came back last week, 39 was it, nothing? And came back last week, although the score didn't reflect a win. The score was, I think, 26-22. They played Redford Thurston. But their performance was surely a winning performance. They looked great. They really did. And I'd like to encourage the rest of the community, if you get a chance, to go out and see this team develop, because they've come a long way. They look really good. So keep up the good work. Thank you.
Good. Anything else from the council? Mayor, do you have anything?
Yeah, we have a event coming up on Wednesday, September 16th, and there's a gentleman who attends a lot of the council meetings. He's known in the wrestling world as Rhino, but Terry Gurin, and he's going to do a pro wrestling match to benefit St. Sabina Church, and he's the organizer, and it's going to feature some of these wrestlers: Rhino, Vinny Scarboni, Truth Martini, Frankie the Arms, Johnny Bravo, and Wayne County Commissioner Chairman Gary Warnchuk is going to be, I think, the MC and introduce them. The match is being held at St. Sebastian's Gymnasium, 20710 Colgate Street in Dearborn Heights. All seats are $5. Doors open at 7. Bell time is 7:30. Tickets are available at the St. Sebastian Church office. And I'm told they filmed a commercial today, but it went for a long time, and it was hilarious. So I don't know how the staff is condensing 30, 40 minutes of interaction down to 30 seconds or a minute.
It's the first time we've ever tried to film a three-ring circus, and it was it was a lot of fun. I mean, Terry's a great guy. We all know Terry, but the folks he brought in were just really a good bunch of folks. Obviously, they're kind of rough and tough wrestling types, but you get to talk to them. They're just wonderful folks, and they're here just to support the church with the fundraiser. So hats off to them. I hope everybody gets a chance to go out and watch it.
Yeah, very nice, good. Is that it, Mayor?
Yep.
It's
Clerk,
for
yeah.
St. Sabina at St. Sebastian, correct?
No, it's a benefit of St. Sebastian, and it's at St. Sebastian's Gymnasium. Did I see?
Yeah, I think you said Sabina, I caught that too.
I was up at Sabina's for Father Buchan's anniversary, and they had a church picnic, and he was honored, and they asked me to come, so I guess I still have
So it's for the benefit of St. Sebastian at St. Sebastian's.
gymnasium, correct, on Colgate Street. Thank you.
Okay.
Clear indication somebody was listening.
Just
Clerk?
to piggyback on that, I went to the last one they had about 2 months ago, and it is great entertainment for $5. Believe me, you'll have a great time. If you got young kids, grandchildren, nieces and nephews, the wrestlers will take pictures with them and sign stuff, and it's some of the best $5 I ever spent the last time I went there. So enjoy and please go and support St. Sebastian's. On back to business. We have the election coming up. We're in the process of preparing everything. We have got approval from the state for the ballots. We're now interacting with the printer, and hopefully we don't have the ballots yet. Hopefully soon we will get them. I hope to put a sample ballot on our election page very soon, so you'll be able to view. Those of you in District 7, 23, 24, 25, 26, and 27 will have a technology bond. The rest of the city will have electing 3 council people and a charter amendment regarding the publication of minutes. So if you have any questions whatsoever, need an absentee ballot if you qualify, anything you want to talk to us about, 313-791-3432. And thank you very much. The election is November the 3rd, the first Tuesday after the first Monday.
Any idea what the count is so far on applications?
The applications for absentee ballots as of today is 2,460.
Okay. Well, at this point, if anyone has any announcements, these are things happening in the city or going on. Mike?
Hello, Council Chair and Mayor. Just wanted to remind everyone of a couple upcoming programs. Next Tuesday, September 15th from 7 to 8:30 p.m. at Carrollton County Library. Author, public speaker, and media personality Jeff Yeager will be delivering a lecture on finding wholesale happiness in a retail world. Based on his best-selling books, Jeff teaches you how to live a happier, healthier, and fuller life, but only if you are not willing to pay the price. Also join us this Wednesday at 7 p.m. at Carrollton County Library as Jill Tack talks about backyard herbs, including their identification, therapeutic uses, and the best ones for your cat and dog's health. That's all for now. Thank you for your time, and see you at the library.
Thanks, Mike. Any other announcements? Okay, seeing none, then at this point, if anyone has any questions or concerns, please direct them to me. If you would like to talk to another council member, or the mayor, department head, et cetera, let me know, and I will ask him or her if they would like to respond. Councilman Barry will keep time. You will have 3 minutes after you give your name, the street you live on, and the city that you live in. When you have 15 seconds left, he will hold up this, and when your time is up, he will hold up the stop sign. So at this point, does anyone have anything they wish to bring before us? Ma'am?
Hello, I'm Jacqueline Turner from McDonald Street. I just have a couple of questions. I don't know who would like to answer that. These little papers that go out, I just want to inform everyone that they are not delivered to every household. I know I watched the postal person. This one was delivered January 13th of this year, and this one was delivered on May 30th. I date them when I get my mail. So I watch them, and you know, there's a lot of information in here that a lot of people who rent, if they would get these and would read them, that would be good. I mean, I do know some that I gave copies of these to, and they threw them out, so it didn't do any good. But I mean, you know, if they're supposed to go to every house, it would be nice if they did. And I don't know if that's from here not getting sent out, or if it's our particular postal person on our street, because I watched her for 3 blocks, and she went, in fact, homeowners, every other homeowner got one, not just the people who rent and the vacant houses, you know, she didn't go to, but there are houses that are renting, and like I said, homeowners, because two doors over from me, the homeowner that's been there 74 years, she didn't get any of these. So I provided her, I got an extra copy from the library and gave them to her and her caregiver so they know what's going on. So that's one issue. Another issue here.
Get a response maybe? Bob?
Anybody?
Do that through the
First,
postal system,
thank you
correct?
for bringing that up. I appreciate it. What I'd like to do is get your specific address, because I'll go back to the post office. That is the responsibility of the postal carrier.
Okay.
We send these out with a bulk permit, and the agreement is with the post office that they will take the stack of these and they will drop one off at virtually every address, be it a business or a residence.
Okay.
So again, if we have specific instances where we know they're not being delivered, we'll bring that up to the post office and
Okay.
see if we can get some kind of accountability there.
All right.
So
Thank
again,
you.
thank you for bringing that up.
Okay.
Jacqueline, can
Yeah.
you see Bob after the meeting then?
Him, yes.
Okay, yes.
Okay.
Okay, thank
I have
you.
another thing. This is from the cable people. This is a bunch of mess they left in my yard. Now, there was a specific incident, and I did call and make a police report because they broke my fence. I don't have cable, therefore they shouldn't have been in my yard, and I don't like them leaving this stuff because it can be flung out by your lawnmower. Pets have stepped on it and got cut, particularly these wide metal things. I already took this stuff to our neighborhood association meeting back when it happened. I am happy to say that Comcast did fix my fence. It took some doing because I had to call around. We don't have a Comcast thing around. They had sent by somebody from Indiana. But, I mean, when they work on those, they should not leave this. This is severe. I called my OSHA and made a report because I used to work with the federal OSHA people. And they contacted Comcast and told them, first of all, this guy come running from behind my garage. He jumped over 3 or 4 fences. Then he jumped on mine to get on the pole to go out and do some work. And I hollered at him. And then I said, well, that's okay, I've called the police. And they said, oh, they won't come. But they did, because that's damaging personal property. And leaving stuff like this is a severe safety hazard. If you've got children, say it's summertime, and you've got pets out there, they can get injured. In fact, one neighbor's pet did, and they spent over $350 to get the pet's paw fixed because it got an infection in there. So I don't know how you would address this, about them leaving debris behind.
But you did call Comcast, correct?
I certainly did.
And then what was their response?
They sent somebody from Indianapolis, and then they sent somebody from Chicago, and then they finally got the contractor, because it was subcontractors that were doing this that day, and they did fix it. And I told them, I said, now I've let my OSHA know that your people didn't have ladders, they didn't have safety equipment for climbing, and they're jumping over people's fences, and they're leaving this mess. He wanted to take this, and I said, oh, no. That's mine, because you left it in my yard and I had to pick it up. So no, sir, you can't have that, because I wanted to make people aware. You know, this is our property that they're, you know, trashing and damaging. So if they jump on picnic tables or fences, or as one person had them stand on the roof of their truck to get to these poles, hey, I told them, they said, well, we have access. Yeah, maybe you do, but you don't have the right to damage our personal property.
Right, okay.
So I don't know how that would be addressed with them, you know.
The utilities have an easement, but not the cable TV, not a subcontractor. So if some of your utilities or subcontractor for like DTE wants to come in, they have an easement, but not your cable TV provider, particularly not a subcontractor.
Okay, yeah, because they didn't have any, and their truck was parked over on Eaton Street. Like I said, I live on McDonald, and he was working on some house, and he came through 3 other yards, the yard next to me. As I seen him go flying from behind my garage, that's what got my attention. And I opened the window and I said, hey, and about that time, here comes the second man. And so he said that they were over there working on that, and I said, well, where's your truck? And then I said, well, that's okay, I've called the police. And he goes, well, we have a right to be back here. And they told me they won't come, but they did come that day. I was very happy that the police came, and I got the report from them. And then the guy, I picked up a copy, and he got a copy, the Comcast person from Indianapolis, and then the one from Chicago, who actually came to repair the fence. You know, so I just want to make everyone in the neighborhood aware that this is stuff that we shouldn't tolerate. There is one other little thing about, you know, neighborhood watching. And there's a group of young kids on McDonald Street, and they go around from neighbors, they throw stuff on the roof, they take chairs off, they go in the backyard, they get in their trucks and jump up and down. This evening before I came here, they were over on Eaton Street throwing rocks at a vacant house window, and I hollered and I said, hey, get out of there, I'm gonna call the police. And then they left, and I told them, then I went to pick up Dolores, and I said, that's okay, guys, I know where you live. I got your description. So their parents don't want to control them. So that is part of the neighborhood watch, right? That even children, I don't care if these children range from the age of 8 to 14. So if their parents, you know, and their parents, the police officer, the last one that came when they were doing that, talked to them and they said, oh, that's not a police issue. Wait a minute, it is a police issue. So
Okay, thank you.
That's all for me. Thank you.
Anyone else? Troy?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, Troy Brown, 23420 Hanover Street. Would like to start off by thanking you for keeping your word. Unlike other people on the council that didn't keep their word, you called me personally, set up a meeting for the CSO
We got it set up.
reserve bond, and we're looking forward to a lot of information being shared.
7 o'clock.
7 o'clock, great, excellent. I want to thank you for that. And so I did send you an email this week, along with the rest of the elected officials, and this is concerning the interfund borrowing and the confusion over the CSO fund. It's part of the water fund, or it's not part of the water fund. But I received an email, as I forwarded it to you, Mr. Chairman, July 8th, from the mayor, and I was wondering if I could get some clarification on that from the mayor, because in that email, he says that the treasurer was proper and legal for investing the monies of the CSO bond. So then there's a lot of talk on other media saying that it's not allowed and it hasn't happened.
Well, that's
So-
a good thing for the 29th meeting.
Right. For the 29th meeting? We're going to talk about that?
I would say that could be part of it.
Interfund borrowing?
Well, you mentioned CSO money.
Yeah,
That's
but
what
I mean,
was
that can be clarified.
Talking about
I sent you the email this weekend, so I know it's a busy
On
weekend. right?
vacation the
Yeah,
whole
I
week.
understand.
Didn't get back till today.
All right, so can I get an answer for my email? I sent out today, or I mean, this weekend?
I followed the opinion of the Corporation Council, so if that.
Isn't that what we're addressing on the 29th with Miller Canfield?
Not necessarily the borrowing. It's what to do with the rest of the money.
Well, if in light, but good stewardship of money, if you have surplus excess money, the, whoever is the administrator of it ought to invest it so it makes money. To let it sit in an account and earn nothing. In fact, there's a very famous biblical thing in regards to one individual takes the money and buries it, and is rather criticized for it. I think you, to properly be a steward of money, you want to invest it, make it larger than it is.
Mr. Chairman, it can't be in violation of Michigan compiled law. We cannot violate the law. And secondly, overtaxing, excess money because of overtaxing, because the levy was not lowered in the budget voted on in June. is not necessarily surplus money. I don't know what the state's going to say about that. So I don't know if that applies here, but certainly there's conflict. There's conflict in that. So there's conflict in the mayor's email to me and then some other opinions. So we definitely need to get done with that.
Proper business sense that in Business 101 you're taught, and there is no conflict. But we're happy to meet on the 29th. People are trying, it's good to get CPAs and attorneys in here, and maybe people will listen to them.
Mr. Chairman.
Councilman Kozinski?
Mr. Brown, you're citing laws.
Yes.
What are your credentials for doing that?
I'm a resident of Dearborn Heights.
Do you have any, are you a licensed attorney?
No, I'm not. Not a CPA either. And it's pretty common sense when you read the laws, when you read the data that's on Google. Anybody can Google it, Mr. Chairman, Mr. Kozinski. Anybody can read it. So.
Last meeting, you also made some statements about the MCL, Michigan Code of Laws.
Compile law, yes, Michigan compile law.
I had a specific question from a citizen requesting me to ask you whether you're an attorney or do you consult with an attorney with your opinions?
Do not consult with an attorney. This is all roll up my sleeves. As a controls engineer, I find problems and I offer solutions. As a resident that was flooded immensely, destructively on August 11th, 2014, I got a problem. I started looking into this government. It's not a government for the people, by the people. And so therefore, I put on my thinking cap and my search engine and everything else that I use as a resident of Dearborn Heights to find out where the problem's at. And I'm finding a lot of problems. And the biggest problem is, Mr. Councilman, is that my questions aren't getting answered. And you know what? We don't have enough time at that meeting coming up, that study session. You better pack a bag because there's a year of questions surrounding these topics.
I find it interesting. I'm happy to hear that you made everybody aware that you're not an attorney.
Absolutely, I'm not.
And that you're not a CPA.
I'm not a CPA. Well, what does that matter? When you're breaking the law, you're breaking the law. I don't need to be a police officer to know that that's a stop sign. Okay, I don't need, and the mayor mentioned business. And what I've learned is the only thing the business, Mr. Chairman, the only business that the city has, the only thing it makes money on is water and sewage. That's the only business you have, okay? Everything else is service. Everything else is service-based.
There is no money made in the water fund. If we were to make money, the rates would be up.
Well, then, okay, so... Okay, all right, so anyway, we're off base. So the last question I have is, I just wanted to remind everybody, if we're going to have answers, I want to talk about, I've asked, who's responsible for the CSO fund in the city of Dearborn Heights? Who is responsible? I asked that several times, many times. I never got the answer. I got deferred to the treasurer, who deferred me to Vince, who deferred me back to the mayor, and I still don't know where you got the data in 2014 to levy us 1.25 mils for 4 years in a row. Well, I still don't understand where that data came from. Is that going to come out in the meeting?
We could talk about that on the 29th.
Okay, well, hopefully you can.
We have people to answer.
Everybody's invited to the meeting. But the most important thing are my questions that I've answered. Can I re-forward them to you? I know they're in the email.
Go ahead.
And so can we address those questions?
Yeah,
okay.
Shoot them to me before then.
And I'll give them to you, and then they'll be addressed. Correct?
I'll do the best I can.
Okay.
Get them answered.
Okay. Very good.
Good.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman.
Councilman Kozinski?
Ordinarily, the council doesn't comment on citizens' statements that are viewed by a large number of people. But in this instance, I was requested to ask that specific question because that could be interpreted as misrepresentation of his credentials. He is not a lawyer. He is not a CPA.
Okay. Suzanne?
That is, Mr. Chairman, is out of order. I've never claimed to be anything I'm not. You know for a fact who I am. I've never been. I've told you over and over again, I'm not this and I'm not that. The bottom line is, you don't need to be that. You need a common sense. You need to have something happen to you, I guess, a watershed moment, pardon the pun, and
Okay,
you're going to
Troy,
find out
but-
that this government's not functioning the way it's supposed
Yeah,
to.
but Councilman Kozinski was asked that question, and you gave him his answer. And
That's right.
the answer.
And so he can leave it at that instead of going on and trying to claim that I'm claiming to be something. You don't need to have a degree. You don't, do you?
Okay.
I explained why I responded. And I did say we give the citizens a courtesy to speak here.
That's right.
Without asking them questions or without commenting on it. In this instance, I had a specific request to ask those questions,
Perfect. And I answered them.
and I have an obligation.
Okay. All right. All right. Very good. Thank you.
Suzanne?
Cut it, please.
Yep. Go ahead.
Suzanne Todd, Academy Street. First thing I want to express a concern about is for our police officers. With the violence that's going on with our law enforcement officers, I would like to make a request that instead of our police officers driving by themselves in a car, that if at all possible, at least during this time, if you could double up. When I was a kid, there were always 2 police officers in every car.
Chief, do you have an answer?
Real quick, contractually, they have that option from sunset to sunrise. If they request a partner, then we operate 2-person vehicles. During the day, it's 1 person, but at night, once the sun sets, then they have that option. Some guys take advantage of it, some prefer to be by themselves.
I really think during this time, though, that it would be best. I mean, this is horrible what's going on with our law enforcement. It's just terrible. So, yeah, maybe it shouldn't be an option. The second comment was, and I'm going to bring up the flooding. I'm sure most of us saw that Colorado River, the Anayasis River in Colorado, where they broke through and all this gunk from this mine flowed down the river. And what a mess it was. And they said that was 3 million gallons of this stuff going down that river. Now, I just want to remind everybody that I think that on August 11th, 2014, we had more than double that amount that went into that big river discharged into the Ecorse Creek at the Jackson Street pumping station, just to give you a reference point of what went on. And just one other thing, Mr. Kozinski, I think you just tried to discredit Troy Brown, and that's my opinion.
Anyone else, sir?
Muhammad Ali from 7008 North Beach, Delhi. I own that house since 2007. September 2007, I closed in the house. I have certificate of occupants from the city, which has all my information. Last May, in May 12, I went on vacation, me and my wife. I went to the police. I filled the form that I'm going overseas for 53 days. When I came back, there was 2 bills cutting my grasses. I understand from the ordinance. The ordinance director called my company. I'm a real estate agent regarding the signs. I have an issue with the neighbor next door. She put some stuff in my yard, my side of the yard, like items from cars and things like that. So they issue me a notice to remove the diapers and so. Anyhow, in May 20th, they cut my grasses, and I agree with them, of course, because I counted my nephew, he didn't do it. In July 3rd, I was already back 4 hours, still jet lagging and still so tired. There is 2 workers to cut the grasses outside. I told them just leave. I have a lawnmower, but I'm buying a new one. I'm waiting for Home Depot to open at 9 o'clock, and I will buy a new one. They insisted. I called the police. I was arrested because I tried to force them out of my
off our property.
Off my property. Anyhow, When they bill me, they bill that they removed, there is 3 cubic feet removed of diapers or whatever
This is
for
yard hauling.
$99.
The only thing
They
hauled
never
away that
removed
day was my
anything.
husband.
So
There was
nicely, I
nothing
went
else
to the
hauled away.
ordinance director and I asked him to produce the pictures. That's going for over a month. Today I spoke with him. I spoke with his employee for three times. They cannot produce the pictures and keep coming back. He has to reissue them, re-download them, whatever. They never removed anything. I have the neighbor, the other neighbor next door to me, the other door, was watching them. My wife was there. My attorney was there when they left. They forced entry in my property and still they charge things never happened. I appreciate it. Thank you. I want his answer, please. And he claimed that he didn't have my information, which is in my certificate vehicles.
Mr. Chair, I didn't
Mayor?
get his address. What was your address again on North Beach Day?
7008 North Beach Day.
Okay.
We're willing to pay for the cutting the grass, but there was nothing hauled away, any yard waste hauled away. And that's what they're charging us for.
I believe you. I believe you.
I believe you.
He called police to get them to come off the property. Police arrested him after being back from our trip 4 hours back. And I had to go bail him out, but the only thing hauled away was him. No yard waste.
Okay.
So Mayor, you'll forward that through and then check on it?
I'll
Okay.
look first thing tomorrow.
Okay. Anyone else wish to bring anything for us? Seeing none?
Adjourn.
Motion by Councilwoman Horvath.
Second.
Second by Councilman Kozinski. All in favor of the motion, aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you.
Director Zimmer?